let's chat about the Three of Pentacles. So throughout working with the Yogic Tarot, something you're going to be doing very regularly is practicing. Whether that's practicing a pose or practicing a teaching or a philosophy that you're looking to integrate, there's going to be a very large element of practice. And as with any spiritual practice, practice is a very big element to it. And what the Three of Pentacles does is it helps to lay out the different aspects that come into understanding practice and what practice truly means for us in the context of having a spiritual practice, but also in the context of day-to-day life. So let's take the Three of Pentacles and let's springboard it off the Ace and the Two of Pentacles. So the Ace and the Two of Pentacles, Sthira and Sukha, are the associated philosophies. So let's take Sthira and Sukha and apply those to the Three of Pentacles, which Abhyasa, it's yogic philosophy of practice. We're now going to look at practicing our Sthira and Sukha. This is where Prapadasana, our associated pose for the Three of Pentacles, comes in really beautifully, because what it does is it creates a mini flow as you transition in and out of Prapadasana and then maintaining the pose of Prapadasana for a little bit. You're working through practicing Sthira and Sukha in different stages, different phases, different shapes that your body's making in order to get into the pose and out of the pose. So all those transitions, those kind of stopping points, so Tadasana, your starting pose, forward fold, and then coming into full Prapadasana, you're each step of the way, you're practicing Sthira and Sukha. It's something that you're mindfully aware of. And you'll find that as you practice Sthira and Sukha within the context of practice and the context of the Three of Pentacles, so that practice becomes simpler, something you don't have to think about as much, and something that becomes more of a natural occurrence until you find that you're just getting on your mat and you're just flowing in and out of your Prapadasana. You don't have to think about, oh, am I stable and at ease in my forward fold? Am I stable and ease while I'm holding my actual pose? So we have that element of practice, and that is the repetition aspect of practice. So repetition is assistive in kind of training the different bodies to get used to something. So if you've never practiced Prapadasana before, it's going to be foreign for your body to go from Tadasana forward fold and into your Prapadasana, because it's not something your physical body has done before. It might feel a little bit weird emotionally, it might feel a little bit weird mentally, where you're like, wow, I'm way off balance, this feels a little bit unstable. So because it's something new, as with any skill, we need to practice. Okay, practice doesn't make perfect, however, practice makes better. And when we practice things, we can then find that we start to transition into more challenging phases of that practice. And this is why we practice the gentle variation of Prapadasana with the Three of Pentacles and not the full variation, because I'm creating a practice space in which, as you get used to the gentle variation of Prapadasana and you find that natural flow of Sthira and Sukha because you practice it, that you can now step up into starting to challenge yourself with the fuller variation of the pose. So you have a different component to practice. So we have the repetition and the importance of why we repeat things. We then have the staging aspect to practice. So practice isn't just, I'm going to keep practicing my Prapadasana, I'm not going to progress from there because that's all I need to know. No, as with learning any new skill or any new habit even, we're learning it in order to progress through to a higher level of that. Like I say, practice doesn't make perfect, but it does make better. So we do need to challenge ourselves in our practice, because if we're just naturally flowing in and out of our Prapadasana, we're not even thinking about it, likely we're not going to be getting the full benefits of practicing that pose. But when we step up the challenge and we're back into, oh, okay, I must be more mindful in my pose, I must pay more attention, So we're back to being in practice mode and having a far more deeper and beneficial experience. So there's more awareness in your experience. So that's why we do need to challenge ourselves and grow and develop within our practices. So having a practice isn't a stagnant thing, it's not static. It's something that allows you to keep transitioning through, to keep your practice going. Okay. With the Three of Pentacles, it also teaches us two key elements to practice, and that is planning and collaboration. So because we're working with the Suit of Pentacles, let's take this from a worldly 3D perspective and let's build a house. Before we can think of throwing the foundation, which would essentially be our four, because fours are foundations, we need to stop and plan, right? Yes. Because if we don't have a plan, we are planning to fail. So we need to have an element of, with our practice, we need to have a plan for our practice, and we need to use our practice space for planning. So being in Prapadasana, what that does is it provides a stable and at ease space in which to assess, how do I want to build my house? Who do I want to bring in to help me build that house? Who would be most beneficial to that? And now we're going a little bit from the planning phase into, hey, I know I'm going to need to work with certain experts in order to build this house. And so we're starting to see the collaborative aspect of our practice. So sometimes when we're practicing a new skill, or practicing a new habit, or practicing a new yoga pose, sometimes we need to collaborate with others. Sometimes we need to reach out to a team of experts, people that maybe know better than us. Maybe they've been practicing this pose for 20 years and you've been practicing it for 5. So people that have external insights that they can give to help you continue with that practice and grow in that practice. So collaboration really is this beautiful key feature to the Three of Pentacles and to the philosophy of practice. With teams, you can also learn different ways to practice. So we're now looking at a little bit more of bouncing different ideas, brainstorming. So the team collaborative aspect also has its own little layers to it. So with the Three of Pentacles, we have quite a few different elements that go into the concept of practice, and why practice is important and how it filters into different parts of our life. So when we're working with the Three of Pentacles, there's a couple of things that we really can explore with the card. We can explore, what does physical practice feel like, and what does the repetition of a practice feel like by transitioning in and out of our Prapadasana and creating that natural flow. There's the aspect of sitting in your Prapadasana and using that space of stability and ease, where you literally have both feet on the ground because it's the gentler variation, and you're also very close to the ground, so you're quite grounded. So in that space, it can bring a sense of calm and ease to allow you to assess, what do I want to plan for? What projects do I want to work on? Who do I want to work with? If you're currently working on a project or you're currently planning for a project, use that space to assess that. How do I feel about the people that I'm currently collaborating with? How do I feel about the team that I'm working with? And pay attention to the body and how the body responds to those different questions. Are you maintaining your stability and ease? Are you maintaining your balance? Are you keeping both feet on the ground? So using it as a space for assessment is a really great thing to do. You can also work with the Three of Pentacles to, if you have got a practice, to learn how to start challenging yourself within that practice. So perhaps Prapadasana is already part of your practice and you're like, hey, cool, I already know the gentle variation, then challenge yourself. So work with the 3 in knowing what you need from that 3, but you're looking to assess those different things, collaborations, different teams, your plans, how to go about those plans, and also understanding what practices are you trying to develop for yourself and how can you plan for those practices, and who collaborative wise can come in to assist you with those practices. So the three's got quite a bit going on, but it wouldn't be a three if it didn't. So one thing to keep in mind with your collaborations and your teamwork, because we are working with the Suit of Pentacles, so think about the teams that are related to your finances, your home. So think about if you're in a partnership or you're married, perhaps you have kids, how does that team influence you, and have you got good balance there? So spend time in Prapadasana and assess those other types of collaborations that you have in life, the more personal types, and see, do you feel balanced? Do you feel like you still have both feet on the ground? So the pose really offers a couple of different spaces to work in, which is really great. It's why I picked the pose, because it offers that space of physically going through repetition of practice. And then the actual pose itself has that space where you're stable and solid and grounded, both feet are stable. Let's assess what's happening. What do I want to plan for? Where do I want to go? What do I want to build in with who? So play around with your Three of Pentacles. Try the transitions in and out of the pose. Try spending some time in the pose. Work with the different questions that are really popping up for you. And it really does offer such a great space to work in. Like I said, there's quite a bit of diversity with the three, and quite a bit of diversity in the spaces that it provides. But there really are helpful spaces to work with. I hope that helps to unpack the Three of Pentacles a little bit more in depth, and give a better understanding of the pose. And I will catch you next time in another Yogic Tarot tutorial.